X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy, abbreviated as XPS. This is very basic video in which we will see that how can we estimate the prepared material structure on the basis of the XPS. XPS is a surface technique which is used to measure the oxidation state. But the thing is, if we prepare some kind of material, then how can we know that which kind of specific material we have prepared? XPS can tell us. XPS can give the answer, but XPS is just one proof. We cannot be 100% sure about that structure which we have prepared on the basis of the XPS or whatever the XPS is telling us, but we can estimate. So how can we estimate and what can we estimate from the XPS? We will see that in this video. First, I would like to give the briefly basic or brief explanation about the XPS. XPS does work like that. The X-rays fall over the metal atom and the electrons get excited. The energy of the X-ray higher than the binding energy of the electrons, and then the kinetic energy of the excited electrons gets measured, and we will have this kind of the spectra. So this kind of the wide spectra, then we can deconvolute whatever we need by using the software, and usually we use the software CASA XPS. And I'm not going to tell the deconvolution in this video. This can be the part of the next video or later. So this is the main slide of this video in which we are going to see that how can we estimate the resulting structure based on the XPS. So for example, if we take some copper precursor and follow some procedure and protocols and synthesize some material which is unknown, and then we measure the XPS spectra. So by looking at the XPS spectra, we can see that the copper is present in the 0 oxidation state and +2 oxidation state. And I would like to mention here that intensity of the peak in the XPS spectra depends on the concentration of that specific species in the sample. So here the spectra shows that copper 0 oxidation state is more. So we can say that in this sample or in this prepared material, copper can be present in the nanoparticle form. And I would also like to mention that as XPS is a surface technique, so these kind of the peaks, copper 2 plus, sometimes also appear because of the oxidation of the copper nanoparticles. Because copper oxide is very stable and it is very easy for the copper nanoparticles to get oxidized during handling or sampling of the XPS. So that's why these kind of peaks can appear, but the majority of the peaks are in the copper 0 state, which shows the structure can be in the nanoparticle form. So this was very simple example. So if the material is complex, like it has some kind of the other metal along with the copper metal atom, or it can have some kind of vacancies, then how can we interpret that sample? So for example, let's take this example in which the copper and selenium, two different metal atoms, are present and also have some vacancies. So how can we estimate the structure in this case? So first have a look over the copper XPS spectra, and we will see that in this the copper 0 oxidation state is absent, which shows that copper is not present in the copper 0 nanoparticle form. And the majority of the oxidation state or the concentration of the copper is in the form of +1, as we can see from the peak intensity. It means that the copper neighboring environment should have something which is forcing the copper to have the +1 oxidation state. And as we use the selenium metal atom, so we can of course estimate, or we can have a guess that the selenium is present in surrounding. And of course selenium is there, so we will have the selenium XPS spectra also to exactly estimate our structure. So in the selenium XPS spectra, the vacancies case, the binding energy shift have been seen. And the shift is also very important interpretation, and I would like to mention here that if this shift of the binding energy is towards the lower side, then we can say that the oxidation state of that specific metal gets decreased. And if this shift is towards higher side, higher binding energy, then we can say that the oxidation state of that specific metal gets increased. And in this case, the shift is towards the lower binding energy. It means the oxidation state here gets decreased. And they claim that this material have the vacancy. Of course, they did not claim only on the basis of the XPS, but XPS also shows if there is a vacancy. So I will make you understand this, but before that, let's see the structure of this unknown material. So copper selenium vacancy have this kind of structure. So why the binding energy shift happens in the vacancy containing sample? So as the selenium is more electronegative than copper, so if in this sample no vacancy is present, it means that more selenium metal atoms are present in this sample. And the selenium, single selenium is surrounded by the other selenium atoms. There is more probability because there is no vacancy. And because of the more probability of the surrounding by the selenium metal atom, this selenium um, will have less electron density, because more electron density will be extracted or will be extracted by the selenium metal atom, other selenium metal atom. But if the vacancy present, then the there will be the absence or of the selenium atom, or we can say that the selenium atom is less in this sample, and atom is more. Then we can say that the selenium in this sample can be surrounded by the copper atom, and copper is less electronegative than selenium, so the electron density extraction by the copper will be less. So as electron density extraction is less, so it means selenium will have more electron density as compared to this sample. In this sample, the selenium will have more electronegative because of the absence of the neighboring selenium atoms, and as a result the binding energy shifts towards the lower side because the um, oxidation state gets decreased because of the vacancies. So this is clearly shown in the XPS spectra. So it means vacancies and some kind of this information we can also estimate from the XPS. Of course, we need other characterization later, but this will help a lot. So this is all about this video, and like this we can estimate the many other different structures on the basis of the XPS. So the basic things which we see, I tried to show in this video. So if you have further question, you can ask that. Thank you.